Greetings to everyone who is watching this. My name is Dr. Don Kurubulla, Senior Registrar in the Department of General Medicine, Christian Medical College, Vellore. It's my great privilege to introduce to you all and interview three of our postgraduate residents here in the Department of General Medicine. We live in very unprecedented season of pandemic, tumultuous times ravaged by suffering and death brought by the COVID season. However, we in Christian Medical College Vellore consider that education and training should continue, and it's vital even in this season of pandemic where everyone is overwhelmed by the number of sick and dying patients. This was the purpose for which the institution was started by our founder Ida Scudder more than 100 years back. As a vision statement says, to train young men and women in the spirit of Christ for becoming competent and compassionate doctors who are scientific and humane to treat rich and poor and all kinds of patients, whether we are in normal times or pandemic times. We in Department of General Medicine with our interns, residents, junior and senior faculty have been in the forefront of our institution's efforts in curbing this pandemic over the last 1.5 years. This series of interviews with our residents who are in their various years of MD medicine training is an attempt to capture their emotions, thinking, and life as they go through this MD program. We are hoping to hear from them as they candidly and openly share with us their experiences of learning, working, and coping as they pass through various rotations and postings in their courses. To begin with, I want to introduce Dr. Jibi, who is a final year MD resident here in the Department of Medicine. Hello, Jibi, and welcome and wishes as you are finishing your MD General Medicine course and you are at the end of your course. How were your 3 years, Jibi? Please introduce us to your background and what hopes and aspirations you had as you joined this institution, CMC Vellore, for your MD General Medicine program. And how did you know about this institution, CMC Vellore? How did you decide to do MD in this institution?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Don. My name is Jibi John. I'm finally a PG registrar in the Department of Internal Medicine. And I'm very privileged to be here talking about my institution. And answering to your question, CMC Vellore, I heard right from, I think, when I was pondering over what career to pursue in the medical field. And from my 12th standard onwards, through various channels like through family and friends, and also largely through various media portals which were showing ranking of various institutions. So even back then, that was 12 years back in 2009 when I was starting out. Even at that time, CMC Vellore would always figure out as one of the top 3 institutions in the country with respect to the premier institutions which provide excellent services with respect to training and medical education and research and services at large to the community. So that's how I learned about it. More than choosing, I would say that I always had an internal desire to work in CMC Vellore, to be trained under CMC Vellore, and I feel that choice. I think it was God's calling, and certain things were ordained for me, and through my various exams and entrance exams and such things, interviews, I was selected, and I feel very privileged that I finally could realize my dream of working here in CMC.
Thanks, Sibi, for sharing that. Can you give me a brief overview of your training process here in the last 3 years in your course in terms of your postings in the ward, in OPDs, your super specialty postings, other peripheral postings? How has your experience been? And give us a brief roadmap of how you went about these 3 years.
Okay. So I'm doing a PG registrar. I'm working as a PG registrar here. So that's a 3 years of training and PG residency. So that's divided into first year, second year, and third year. It's a heterogeneous program, but it's a very well planned program. It is nearly about a good amount of 14-15 months of our entire residency program is actually spent in various other medical specialties where we are learning the various nitty-gritties of internal medicine, because the internal medicine subject itself is so vast and it is so it contains so many things. So one unique thing to CMC is that our PG residency program, there is not much difference between the work that a first year does and work that a final year does. we are actually, as soon as we enter, as soon as we are inducted into the program, we are actually working at the same level as a third year registrar with a consultant right above us. And there is no hierarchy as such that we follow. And it's very hands-on. It's very practical from the word go. The work is broadly divided into, let us say, acute medicine, in which we see a lot of sick patients and unstable patients who we see in the emergency services.
Okay.
And we admit them, and we treat them as the IP patients.
Okay.
We also see more of walk-in or more stable patients as a part of our outpatient services. Then we have emergency postings. Then we work in the ICUs. Apart from that, we have, as I said, we rotate in various medical specialties where we have a focused training into the various different specific physiological systems and the pathologies associated with that. Apart from that, we focus on academic training in the form of various journals and discussions and critical appraisals of various the new studies and guidelines on various diseases that we deal with.
Okay.
And then to end with, we also have our thesis or dissertation, which is a mandatory university requirement. So we contribute to a part of our training in with respect to research as well.
Yeah. So going through it myself, couple of years back, I can identify with what you said. And one thing which we boast in our department is the amount of patients we see and the practical exposure we have by, like you said, working hands-on in the ward, being in the ground, seeing real-time patients, learning from them primarily. So how would you rate your practical exposure here? And how has it helped you build your confidence in managing patients over the past 3 years?
Yeah, I would rate it very high. I wouldn't allot a particular number on a 0 to 10, but then I would say that it was it was tremendous. The exposure was tremendous. It's an incontestable fact that our institution is a melting pot for the entire country and even some of the neighboring countries. To be truthful, because there's a multitude of people who come from various parts of the country, various sections of the society, from the downtrodden to the underprivileged to the highest strata of the society. There are people who come from the neighboring countries. Like I've seen patients from Nepal and Bhutan and Bangladesh.
Yes.
And while usually the dictum is that we generally see it's more likely to see the uncommon presentations of common illnesses, but rather here we see both actually. We see the atypical presentations of common illnesses, and we also see the typical present of uncommon illnesses, because it is the range and the spectrum of diseases that we see here is so protean that that is nearly impossible to escape passive learning. We will learn a lot of things simply by having seen it or simply having confronted such a situation. So there's a lot of bedside learning, very hands-on, as I said, and the practical exposure is tremendous.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And maybe you can, for the help of everyone who's listening this, briefly tell us the variety of cases you would have managed in the wards and OPD, so that we know like how your experience has been. Yeah.
Yeah. Offhand, if you ask me, or if I had to think about it, to name a few, that we see a lot of general cases, the cases that are statistically they're more common or more prevalent in society. We do see that, and we see various manifestations of that. So, for example, if you see, let us say, just tuberculosis, which is the most prevalent infection in the country.
Common
so then we
disease.
see a lot of atypical manifestations of tuberculosis. Like I have seen a patient with tuberculosis presenting at ITP, or presenting with HLH, or Ponseti syndrome in tuberculosis, or leprosy presenting as vasculitis. Various other infections, like offhand I remember that I'd seen a patient with neurosyphilis or toxoplasmosis. So there were various conditions like that, very rare illnesses. Early on in my first year, I remember seeing a young patient with a liver failure, and we ultimately diagnosed it with Wilson's disease. And I remember having seen case of leisure in two such patients in my. So that's a great privilege to be able to seeing such rare cases in the clinics, which actually adds it adds a great deal to our knowledge and clinical acumen in the future.
So we see, so you are saying that as you go through your 3 years of training, you see chronic disease like diabetes, hypertension, coronary vascular disease, but also rare manifestations of various infections,
Yes.
tropical diseases, and vasculitis, things like that.
Yes.
Also. So, and in OPDs also, we cater to a large number of local population who come to us for their routine treatment.
Yes.
And so that's good. That's good. So you touched about this, but can you tell us an overview about the teaching and academic exposure and the experience you have as you go through your 3 years of training?
Yes. So I think enough and more weightage is given to academic training also. I would see academic training that happens as two ways. We do it in two manners. One is a passive learning that is more of a bedside and case-to-case basis of learning. So, for example, a patient comes, and if it's a usual syndrome that we see, then also we go back and read the various about the current evidence-based guidelines and medicine which is recommended. Because we have facilities to do everything. We are backed up with a very good lab services, testing, and a lot of interventions can happen, which may not be the case in the rest of the country. So we do read up on the cases that we get. So that's a passive learning. We have to learn it. We also have on certain occasions every week we have something known as a grand rounds, at which point the entire medical team from the topmost, the head of the unit to the intern, will be rotating on and seeing on each of the patients and making plans. We'll be revising about the way we approach the patient, how we reach the diagnosis, how are we going to treat, what are the treatment options, are we all on the right track, are we all learning along the way. So that is one kind of learning that happens. Second is that we have various academic sessions. So generally on a usual day, we will be actually starting our days. I mean, a PG registrar will be going a little bit early, like maybe waking up at 6 o'clock or 6:30 and doing a rounds of that patient, of his or her patients with the interns. And then officially we'll start a day with a morning session typically, where the entire department meets, and we'll either have a journal club where we do critical appraisal of various relevant studies, or we'll be having a seminar or review of certain topics that we want to be learning about. We also have weekly, we have something known as a clinical meeting, where the entire department comes up, and there are in fact people who come from other departments, and where we present the rare diseases or some interesting thing or learning points. That's something that we'll be discussing upon. So that's one thing we go through. So yeah, these are the various ways in which we
Okay. So there are lectures, there are bedside clinics, and there are seminar topics you share, and there is also a meeting where you present interesting or difficult cases which you have managed. So that kind of gives me idea about a round learning where you see the patient bedside. You also have a good, strong academic reading around the patient also. Can you tell us about some of the procedures you would have done and learned as you went through these 3 years?
Yes. So, among the various procedures that a typical internal medicine PG registrar will be doing on a day-to-day basis, the common ones will be a lot of aspirations, meaning a thoracocentesis or a paracentesis, then a lumbar puncture, or a bone marrow study by means of an aspiration and a refined biopsy. Those are the very common ones that will be happening daily. So we are expected to learn that, and we'll be proficient at it. At the end of the day, we'll be very good at it. But then there are other things that a lot of things that comes as part of the ACLS training, like intubation and a lot of central line insertion, or even a peripherally inserted central catheters. So those lot of line insertions, intubation. Then we also do that on certain special cases. Then we sometimes we do nerve muscle biopsies or a fat pad biopsies, and such things also we do.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that, GP. To close, I have come to know that you are going to a secondary mission hospital for your service obligation once you finish your MD training for 3 years after your exams. So, how do you think this 3 years of MD training program has prepared you for working in such a rural or a semi-urban setup where you have limited resources and limited manpower? You may not be backed up by a good lab or a radiology setup, like you said, or a super specialty input. So how do you think this course has prepared you for that? And how do you think a person who is looking forward to working in a rural semi-urban mission hospital setup can prepare or can have an outlook about this program as he or she goes through it?
Okay, so um, I think that CMC is an ideal place for a well-rounded medical training, because it actually teaches you from the entire spectrum from 0 to 100. Let us say if 0 is a place where it's a completely resource deprived setting, to 100 which is high-end care. Then CMC actually trains us for both the things, because CMC has a well-known tradition of sending its doctors to areas in need, and largely the rural areas, or areas which do not have access to healthcare. So it's always there at the back of our mind. It's at the back of the teaching faculty. It's the back of the enrolled registrars, that at some point that they will be required to go out and serve in an area of need. So it's actually a part of our training. So it's always the back of our mind, and we are always taught as to how to approach a case when we have the resources. That's how we do in a tertiary level care, which we do over here. And also they also orient us as to how to deal with a patient when we do not have any resource settings. So I think anybody who is preparing, or anybody who has plans to work in a rural area or in a resource deprived area, then I think CMC is a place to come.
Thanks a lot, GB, for sharing your experience candidly and very thoughtfully. And as you finish your course, all the best for your coming years and the commitment which you have made to go and serve in a needy area. Thank you.